everyone. I hope that this message is meeting you in peace and wellness and balance and in joy. I really just wanted to come and chop it up about some shadow period solar eclipse things that I feel like will be beneficial to the collective. So basically, I just wanted to talk about the symbolism in the universe and how it can help us transform our day-to-day experience. So I'm not sure if I ever talked about this online before, but when we talk about like our spiritual journeys, first of all, I want to start by saying that I personally believe that your spiritual journey starts the day that you're born. And then as we get exposed to more things in the world, more people, more situations, different aspects of this 3D realm, right? We are able to cultivate more of who we are, who we always were. But I think it becomes a little bit like overbearing when we start to just take things in, and everything is personal. Like, how could it not be personal? It's us, right? But the thing that really did help me was, I'm just gonna talk about it. So I had spent a long period of time where I was not considering myself to be Christian anymore. And I just kept saying, I'm spiritual. Like, I don't know what that means. Don't ask me, but I'm spiritual. And I worked a lot. I went to school full time. I also worked very close to full-time hours. So I was always in the car. I was a delivery driver. I was always in the car, always busy, just always doing something. I felt very overwhelmed. And I was working the night shifts as a delivery driver. So a lot of times I would find myself, after work, after doing long shifts delivering, I would just sit in my car and I would just cry. I would just let it out. You know how it is, when you get home from work or school and it's like you don't even really have the energy to get up and do a whole bunch of moving, or, immediately go in the house. It wasn't in me. What was in me was to sit down and just like decompress. So I got to a point where I started to put verbiage to my emotions. So it wasn't always just a cry, and of course I would be saying like, I'm tired. Like, I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired of this. But what I noticed was my verbiage changed from, I'm just so tired of this. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. My verbiage went from that to, I acknowledged a greater spirit. I was uncomfortable calling him God or calling them God, calling that energy God, because I almost had like a negative connotation associated with God at that point in my life, because I just the characteristics of God that were presented to me through the lenses of other people, I did not feel like that was a God that I wanted to identify with. That's just me being completely honest. I was like, yeah, if this is God, I don't know, because that's just where I was. I always tell people, like, I had beef with Jesus. I really did not, like, I had more beef with Jesus than I did with the idea of God. I just saw 5 birds fly past. So, like, and at the end of the day, I want to give some validity to people that are struggling with their spirituality. And if you are in that questioning stage, there is nothing wrong with that. When I was growing up as a Christian, I was always taught that it was bad to ask questions. You're not supposed to question God. You're not supposed to, like, some things are just supposed to be left a mystery because that's God's job. And when you start asking too much, then you're kind of leaning over into, oh, you think you're God. I don't believe that God is like that. The God that I serve right now, he's not like that. He actually loves questions. Jesus questioned God. He said, please take this cup from me. Find somebody else. Jesus was like, can you find somebody else to do it? Right? Even though he agreed to incarnate down here and, go through the temptations and go through the human experience just like we did. But so yeah, guys, I ended up yelling at the moon. I was crying and yelling, and I was asking for a name. this is when everything changed for me. I started to ask for a name. I identified with the energy of a higher power, but I started to ask verbally for a name, and I would say, you know, God, give me a name, or show me a sign. So the first thing that happened was, after that, it took a couple of days, guys. Okay, consistency is like the key, seriously, because I just feel like you kind of had to prove that you really want something. And if you are still like in a process of being like shaky, I feel like it's almost giving off the energy of I'm comfortable and I don't want it that bad, or I don't want it bad enough. So I think when you come and you just like, when it's repetitive, it's like, God, I know you hear me. You gonna have to give me something, because I'm gonna keep on asking. When you come with that energy, that's when I got my response. And at first the response wasn't anything. It was just a peace that was put over my heart so that I could stop. Because I was in one of those cries. It was like, you know how you get like choked up and it's like you can't even get yourself together. Like, I was having panic attacks and anxiety attacks all the time. So I think once I started to, you know, open my mouth and actually verbalize what it was that I needed at the time, which was a name. I needed a name or a sign or something. And I received it. After I received the peace, I received a word. And that is, after a while, I started to learn, like, okay, this is clear cognizance, because I started to see that, you know, as I was talking about things or as I was thinking about things, I would get the word that meant that exact thing, or the word that caused that exact, I would get verbiage that did not come from me because I had to look it up. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, or it would be something that led me to my next step, symbols. So that's actually why 7-11 on the clock. That's actually why I wanted to create this this video, because I wanted to talk about and really just kind of press the fact that I really do believe that this 3D realm is about heavy symbolism. And I think that that is the main way that we can learn to not take things so personal, and to just have like better emotional management overall. So I have a lot of water in me. I also have a decent amount of fire in me. And so I feel like that can be very difficult for me sometimes, because when I feel something, it's like, it's hard for me not to take it personal. But one thing that I learned was, a lot of time, more times than not, people are often projecting, and is the things that they're doing, the things that they're saying are way more about them, their character, who they are, and where they are at their journey at the time, than it ever is or was or even could possibly be about me, because these people don't know me. They don't know what my triggers are. They don't know how I feel about certain things. So they're really just acting off of their own character and their own past experiences. So from these symbols, now, this is what I learned. I'm able to see how somebody is acting, or how somebody is speaking about themselves, or, you know, just acting within the relationship with me. And I'm able to pick the meat. I got this from my granny. Pick the meat and spit out the bones. So for example, one thing that I noticed was, I asked to come into more alignment with the universe and learn about the astrology signs, right? So I had came to the conclusion that we are literally all the signs. I've been studying this theory for a month, and Angel Gang, I gotta shout out my girl Des, because I've been watching her for the past year, and she really has helped me make a lot of transformations in my spiritual journey thus far. She talks about how we are literally all the signs, and if you check your birth chart, you will see how you are probably more signs than not, and probably the signs that, you know, you are talking about you hate so much, or, you know, you hate people that are Sagittarius, or you hate the Taurus, or you hate the Aries. Go check your birth chart and figure out where that sign lies in your chart, what planet is in that sign in your chart, because not only would it give you some clarity as to who you are, and the traits that are within you, whether you are expressing them right now or not, but it also will give a little bit of insight. I ran out of space, but it's all good. So as I was saying, it would not only give you clarity as to more traits about you and yourself, whether you are currently expressing them or not, it will also give more insight as to why are you aligning with the people that you're aligning with at the current time. So for example, lately I have been aligning with a lot of people that correspond with my midhaven. Why? Because I've been working on my career. We've been getting this bag. Getting this generation wealth. Okay, I'm not a rapper, so don't talk about me, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, so as you align with the universe, if you are working on attracting your partner right now or cultivating love, check where Venus is in your chart. Check what house Venus is in your chart. What sign rules that house? What planet what sign is your Venus in? And then compare that to the sign that rules the house that your Venus is in. It gets deep. It gets deep. So I really play along with a lot of the zodiac, astrology stuff, like, because I feel my certain ways about people that are not working on themselves either, and certain signs, because I honestly don't think that any sign is worse than the other one. I just honestly think that people that are still in the midst of developing themselves and they're still coming into alignment with the universe, I think anybody can run into some iffy characteristics. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the polarity. Everything has polarity. Even in the Bible, God has polarity. God is very nurturing at times, but then God's gonna set this world on fire. I was singing that song as a little baby. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the energy of polarity. It's about understanding that nothing is always good or nothing is always bad. If it's always good or if it's always bad, that just means that you're not looking close enough. Like, look closer, because you might not know that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of things that we can consider bad, but in a certain context, that would be the optimal choice. And I'm gonna leave that alone, okay? Period. So we kind of talked about a little bit how people and situations can show symbolism. So like, for example, if you are working on self-love, you might run into a lot of people that are triggering you and kind of just like combating everything that you're working on. I know you guys are like, what the fuck? Like, if I'm working on love, why wouldn't I be attracting love? Because possibly there are some subconscious thoughts or some subconscious things that you're still undergoing that are kind of like combating your own manifestations. That's why when I say coming into alignment with the universe is really about just acknowledging every part of you, so that when you work on something, or when you work on one thing, something else isn't just left to the dust. So once you figure out, like, okay, I feel like I'm good in this area, and then you turn around, you won't feel like it's fucking rock bottom, because the body is really a system. And so is this realm. This realm is very systematic. I also wanted to touch on dreams. That was one of my biggest struggles as I was growing up. I used to have a lot of nightmares. This is big for my family too. Sleep paralysis and nightmares are really big for my family. And sometimes even like spiritual attacks coming in ways that aren't like ways that would make somebody make that face that I just made. But I feel like if you know what I'm talking about, then you do. If you don't, then it's like, that's okay. You probably don't have to deal with that, which is fine. Everybody has their own experiences. But regarding dreams, I just really wanted to note that a lot of times our dreams will be symbolic for what are you thinking? What are you thinking about during the day? What is overbearing on your mind? Our dreams can also be the things that we're not thinking about during the day, the things that we are purposefully ignoring so that we can get through the day. Your dream is going to be like, okay, bitch, you got through the day, but we ain't finna get through this night. without addressing this, because it's on your mind. Like, it might not be on your mind because you pushing it back, but it's still in your heart. It's still in your subconscious. You know what I'm saying? Well, the forefront of your mind, but it's still in your subconscious. It's still in your system. I gotta shout out Darcel Andre, because he is a YouTuber and a TikToker that I've been watching for a few months, and he said something that was very beneficial for me. Verbiage is very important for me, because when certain people say certain things in a certain way, it just hits different. And what he said was, the body is a system that is programmed to heal. So healing isn't necessarily the, like, you know, okay, time heals all. We heard that. We all heard that 1,000 times. Time heals all. As time moves on, the body is going to heal itself. You know, like, time is going to make you kind of forget-ish. You know what I'm saying? And forget as much as you allow yourself to, or as much as you will yourself to. However, something can heal without the infection being cured, or without the infection being taken away. So if I have, like, you know, if I was running out in the field with my friends and I ran and I skinned my hand, the top of my hand, if I just went home, you know, and I went to work and I kept doing my thing, next week I'm gonna have a scab, you know, like my hand is going to heal. But if I never went home and used, you know, wound solution and cleaned it out with some, maybe like some peroxide, or, you know, some sea salt, if I didn't do my little ting-tings, like, yeah, I'm gonna have a scab. It's gonna heal, like, in a month it's gonna be healed, but every time I touch it, it's gonna hurt. Not because the wound is still there, but because there's still an infection there. So the wound might have healed over, but the infection is still inside. So dreams, I feel like, allow us to have a uninterrupted view of what the hell is going on inside our minds, whether we want to pay attention to it or not. I love dreaming now. Let me not say that. I'm no longer in a place where I'm looking at, you know, nightmares as nightmares. I also wanted to mention this. Sometimes it's not a nightmare. Sometimes it's memories. I believe in astral travel. I recently found out that a pattern of nightmares that I was having weren't nightmares. They were memories from my Akashic records. I'm going to do a video about Akashic records soon, because I've been studying it for a decent amount of time. But you guys know I don't really talk about stuff until I feel absolutely ready. That's that Taurus Midhaven stuff. But anyways, yeah, so dreams are often symbolic of something that you need to attend to, or something that your spirit just wants you to know. It could be hints, it could be insights, it could be all different types of symbols. Just symbolism. So don't take it too much like I'm crazy, because that's how I used to feel. I used to feel like I'm going crazy. Like, my mind is fucking torturing me. Like, I can't even get no rest. Like, I can't get no rest, can't get no sleep. I feel like that's a song, but I can't think of like what song it is, but that's all I think. I can't get no rest, can't get no sleep. And that's really how I felt for a long time. But now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, if I have a nightmare, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna dissect that boy. I keep journals by my bed. I think that is something great to do, keeping a journal by your bed. If that's too much, I will wake up in the middle of the night and boop, I'm going to Snapchat that boy. I'm going to make a video, because that is transmutation. So transmutation is just transferring something from one thing to the next. So I'm going to get it out of my body, out of my spirit, and out of my mind, and onto this video, onto this phone, or onto the paper, the journal. And I feel like that is one way that can really help you identify the symbolism. It might not come immediately. You might just, you know, get the recap of the dream immediately. Usually as I'm writing, I'll get a lot of clarity, like, oh, I was shitting, but it wasn't shitting. Like, I was releasing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to do some releasing work. Okay, what was I looking at when I was shitting? Oh, I was looking at da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like our dreams can be crazy, yes, but I feel like when you get over that part, when you get over the emotions and you're able to see the symbolism, it can actually help you in your day-to-day life, and you don't have to be so terrified of sleep and of closing your eyes. For a long time, it made me really nervous and just really almost terrified to close my eyes, and that's why I had so much trouble with meditation, because I'm like, so I can have some bad visions, like what? Like, no. But I promise, when you start to work with also working with the elements, I really do believe that working with certain herbs like dandelion, the petals and the roots, let me think, working with blue lotus, oh my goodness, great for dreams. Working with rosemary, I love rosemary because it brings a lot of clarity and discernment, so that when I'm doing my dream work and when I wake up and I'm discerning, it's clear. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there were certain images that I saw that were like a little bit like, you know, like like nerve-wracking, I won't be so caught up in that one piece, but I'm able to, like my granny says, take the meat and spit out the sticks. So I feel like that's pretty much all I wanted to say concerning dreams. I do want to touch on sleep paralysis a little bit. Honestly, my brother was dealing with sleep paralysis for a long time. I haven't heard anything about, you know, how he's been doing with it. So I'm assuming that he gets it a lot less. I'm going to actually give you guys a big tip that actually helped me a lot with my nightmares. And I told him the same thing for his sleep paralysis. And I'm assuming that it did help because I started hearing about it less. So I have always been like kind of infatuated with like knives. Okay, like having so much fire in me, like how can I not? Knives and swords. But anyways, so I would sleep with a knife under my pillow. This was also helping me be during a time where a lot of times when I was sleeping in places where it could have been an unsafe situation very easily and very fast. But sleeping with a knife under my pillow honestly did really help. Really help. That was like my biggest thing. When I was sleeping with crystals under my pillow, it was like enhancing my dreams. And I had to learn how to work. I was still working with the symbolism, but sleeping with a knife under my pillow, I do think that served a lot of protection. My brother put his under the mattress, which is understandable because, you know, if you're a wild sleeper, not saying he is, but if you are more of a wild sleeper, it would probably be more ideal for you to put it under the mattress so that you don't wake up looking like you actually got into a bloody first century battle. But yeah, so knife under the pillow, I think that's a great idea. As far as peers and peer situations, the people around us, it's often said that we do not come into close contact with anybody who is not a soulmate of ours. So I personally believe that we're like everybody that we come into experience with, like to a certain closeness, we are soulmates in a way. So we agreed to come down here and help each other out, or at least be in communion for a certain point of time in our lives. And I think it's important to remember, look at that bird. It's important to remember that the people, so first let me say this, we are not the body. However, when we recognize each other, that's the first thing that we see. We first recognize each other in the body, right? We are not the mind. But the things that we hear and that we're able to perceive from each other's bodies come directly from the mind. However, we are all spirits in a body with minds. Okay, so that, for me, like that, just bringing myself back there to remember, like, okay, this person is just another spirit in a body that's developing their mind. They might be on a certain, you know, area of development or working on a certain thing that, you know, like, honestly, if they're in my life, they're showing me something. I think that everybody in your life is a mirror to you for something. If it's like, okay, this person is always irritating me because they're just way too messy. Okay, well, maybe you should look at the times in your life where you are being way too messy. It might not be at work, it might be in your relationships, right? If you have like, oh, this is a good one. I'm about to make somebody mad. I'm about to make my own ego mad with this one. If you're dealing with like parents, like parental, the word disillusion came to me. Parental disillusion. I'm gonna look that up afterwards because I don't even know what that means. But if you are dealing with like some issues with your parents, we are our parents. We're not our parents, clearly, but so much of us would not be without our parents. So I think our parents are often our biggest mirrors, especially for the black sheep, because let's be honest, if you weren't raised in the environment that you were raised in, which if you look at your birth chart, you'll be able to tell that you kind of chose it. You know what I'm saying? Like, your birth chart is going to read you and be like, yep, we know all of this. And so do you. But anyways, it just shows you a mirror. That's all. And I think we have to let go of the titles, because at the end of the day, that's a human construct. You know, like, we created that, the title of mom and dad, even though, you know, like, I'm not saying it's not a thing or like it doesn't hold weight, but I think that sometimes we just put too much emotion on these titles: mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend. We don't own none of these people. We don't. We didn't come into the world with none of these people. We don't own none of these people. And we're not going to leave the world with none of these people. And one thing that is really getting driven into me is that our spirit teams work with us, right? Us. They tell us how to navigate situations with other people, but our spirit teams work with us. So it's just important to remember that you just can't take stuff personal, because everything is symbolic. And I think it can be difficult. And that's why sometimes, you know, at the end of the day, spirit is just going to start removing people. Because when we have these close feelings and when we have these close relationships, it can be difficult to separate ourselves, to practice that detachment. But one thing that is helpful for that is working on your third eye chakra, because balancing and conquering the third eye chakra is not conquering. That sounds so like nug if you buck. But coming into alignment with your aura so that you have a open third eye chakra. It's all about detachment. And just understanding that I am the spirit that's in this body, and yeah, I might have on these clothes, and you know, yeah, I might do have this legacy, or yeah, I might have this car, this amount of money, I might be the greatest mom in the world, I might be the greatest sister in the world, I might be the greatest loner in the world, but at the end of the day, none of these things are being taken with me. The only thing that's being taken with me after this life is this soul. So just remembering that everything you see is a symbol for something, which is very it's very on point for spirituality, because the way that we do magic and, you know, set our intentions are through things with symbolism, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, so actually that leads me into my very last point. I wanted to talk about how a lot of times nature can serve as the biggest symbol, and I used to take this for granted a lot until I want to say in the past like 6 months I just randomly started picking up rocks. This is just my personal story. So I was walking outside of my apartment one day going to work, and something just told me like, yep, pick up this rock right here. And I picked it up, and I learned that it was a red jasper. And then I just, you know, knowing me, I started to look up, okay, like, what is red jasper made of? What can be made from red jasper? What are, you know, just the properties, the components. I wanted to know, you know, what can red jasper be symbolic for, right? Because we go and we spend all of these monies. We spend all of this money on all of these things that symbolize something else like crystals, but a lot of times we don't pay respects to the things that aren't so like hyped up but are still so precious in their symbolism and in their value. So I had picked up a red jasper. I didn't know that was a crystal. The next rock that I picked up was a quartzite, and that's when I found out that crystals were man-made. The crystals that we buy are man-made. Crystal, the word crystal literally just means the components that are like inside a rock. So clear quartz comes from quartzite and probably several other rocks. But I would have never known that. I would have kept going to the crystal shop, the Botanica, and you know, all these other places, paying $25, $30 for clear quartz without knowing that the place that I live at is full of quartzite and is full of natural raw clear quartz. So yeah, a lot of times birds can represent our ancestors. I learned that from my spirit team personally. Different birds can represent different things. When I hear I know that that's probably the wren yelling at me. The wren is a spring bird. When I heard the wren, I knew that spring was here. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. I don't care how many snows we get again. And this is Michigan. When I hear the wren, I know that it's spring. Periods. Don't say nothing to me. Like, don't say nothing to me because I heard the wren. The wren is also a more aggressive bird. For the bigger birds that build their nest higher in the trees, the wren is the bird that can go and destroy them motherfuckers. Why do they do that? I don't know. But like, they're a more aggressive bird, and it makes sense because their call is a scream. That's how it got me to notice it. And I would notice that if I was thinking a certain thing or, you know, trying to validate myself, sometimes the wren would go like, can you just believe yourself? Like, please, this time. So it was a symbol for me. I then found out that the bluebird, I think it's a blue mockingjay. I'm not sure. Blue jay. I think it's a blue jay. Comment in Michigan because I see it all the time. It makes a very similar screaming sound, but it's a little bit of a longer scream and it's a little bit of a different cadence, but still very similar. The bluebird is a whole different type of bird. But I think it's just so interesting that a lot of times, you know, we pray for a sign like, God, show me a sign, show me a sign, show me a sign. But that bird that just almost flew into your car, you ignored it. And you just said, this dumbass bird. No, that might have been your grandma. like, please stop. Please stop. That probably was your great granddad. Like, this is your granddaddy. That's what it's given. And a lot of times, you know, with our day-to-day life, when we go to work, we have all of these stressors. People. All right, y'all. Welcome to the comforts of Mikasa. I don't care how many times Mercury retrograde tries to make me prove myself. I'm gonna prove myself every time, and that's just I feel like that was a message on its own. Just the fact that we were talking about symbolism so heavy, and just the fact that my phone died, my phone ran out of space, and it was just so many reasons. Confirmation. It was just so many reasons for me to be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just not supposed to do this video. Like, no, it's not about that. It's more so probably a symbol as to, you know, like a testament of patience, and not only patience, but grit. So a lot of times I feel like we ask for stuff, and then that's what I was talking about. We ask for stuff, and then we miss the symbolism. We miss the symbolism in the test. We just get frustrated with the test because we don't want to be tested. We just want the prize, but you can't get the prize because you have to make room for the prize. And if you don't even have the heart space for the prize, when you get it, it might be too heavy. So you have to make space, because everything that we hold is energy. Like, it has energetic weight. So you have to think, like, you want to be clear, you know what I'm saying, before you're able to just move on and get the things that you are manifesting. So yeah, we're back at it. I don't want to say the rest of it because I just don't. But we're back at it. I was talking about how you know, we go through our day-to-day lives, And we have a lot of distractions when we go to, if you go to school, there's distractions because there is pressure, there is, you know, test, like actual 3D physical tests that you have to take. There is just a lot of just pressure. Like, it's just pressure. It's pressure. It's deadlines. It's everything. It's the weight of the family, the weight of wanting to generate generational wealth. That is pressure. Social pressure, all kinds of pressure. I lost my point. I lost my point for the pressure point. So I'm gonna just take this moment because pressure point came to mind, and I'm going to talk about how that was a symbol in itself. Come on, clear cognizance. Because pressure points are very powerful. Using our hands, in so many cultures, using your hands to heal is very powerful. In Christianity, you have laying hands. In Japan, you have Reiki. I learned about Reiki. I'm going to be doing a video about Reiki soon because yes, one of the most powerful things on my transformation journey. Just all kinds of healing with your hands, like massages is healing in itself. Using pressure points and really putting pressure on certain points and then massaging it out of the body and moving it out of that space is very beneficial. All right, that was just a quick little side note, but what I really was talking about before was just the distractions of our day-to-day life, the conflicts that we might have with our family, or even if it's not, you know, distractions of conflict. Sometimes it's just distractions of just having to cater to too many people or having to answer to too many people. And one thing that I found was when I was in a very, very, very good space in all of my relationships, I had to answer 25 people in a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain good things, when people called me, I had to say it over and over. I was talking about the same things over and over again. And it was just kind of like very much draining. Some people would end up feeling ignored, while other people, you know, tomorrow they'll feel ignored. It's just draining. And it's really a distraction because we came here by ourselves, and our goal is to work on our own soul. That in itself is a symbol. What is important to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might think that something is important to you while your actions are showing that another thing actually holds more weight than what you may be giving credit to. So yeah, I really don't want to just like, I don't want to rant because it's already been pretty long, but I think that the video was powerful enough. I'm really excited for everything that's been going on in the Botanica. We got a lot of website updates. Very, very, very soon, I will be working in a local Reiki clinic, so I'm super excited about that. I'm not sure if there are other Reiki, public Reiki clinics in Metro Detroit, but if you are in the area, I'm super excited to be a part of this organization, Healing the Waters. My Reiki teacher, that's her organization, and I'm just super excited to be a part of this initiative. And to bring Reiki to the Black community, because that's not something that we talk about at all. I feel like I didn't learn about it until I was 21. So, and I think that if we were to talk about it more and normalize it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would actually bring people a lot closer to God than they even think. And also a lot closer to themselves and a lot closer to their Ori, aka your higher self. So I don't want to keep ranting. I also feel like in a minute my stomach is going to be growling, and I don't want that to be louder than my voice. The message was already very loud. I think at the end of the day, Spirit just really wanted us to know that, you know, everything is a symbol for something. So try to look at situations, look at the people that are coming into your life, look at it a little bit deeper, look at your dreams a little bit deeper, try to remember what happened and try to think, what could that symbolize? You know what I'm saying? If you were looking down at something, or were you looking up at something? Or were you looking at something and then you saw your reflection? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, just it's the little things. It's the little things. That is honestly what led me so deep into my spiritual journey. First and foremost, it was always looking up, what does this mean? What did this dream mean? What did this dream mean? Well, okay, what does a turtle mean? I dreamt about a turtle. What does that mean? And turtles can mean something totally different, especially if the turtle had its mouth open with no teeth. So, I mean, that's kind of a crazy example, but you guys know we have crazy dreams sometimes, and that's why we be waking up like WTF. Um, so yeah, I just want to leave you with that. I hope that this video was helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. There will be a lot of updates coming. I really, really, really hope that you guys were able to resonate with this video, and I hope that it did help you. I hope that you are feeling more comfortable about closing your eyes, or at least, you know, just feeling a little bit more valid about the dreams that you were having, or, you know, some of the feelings that you were having as we're all going through this spiritual ascension journey. And I will catch you guys next time. Have a muy bien day.